Hey there, and first of all, welcome to this training. This is day 9 of our 10-day course on how to coach with excellence and also how to get high-ticket clients as well. So in this specific training, I'm going to be teaching you about the difference between kind of surface level and practical coaching and the deep level transformational coaching. Now, when most coaches are just kind of starting out or learning coaching, most of the time they're kind of focused on just the practical kind of coaching, which is all about goal setting and things like that. However, if you want to become a real, a coach that makes a real difference and a real, you could say, major transformation in people's lives, then you need to not only focus on the practical dimension of coaching, but you also need to focus on the deep transformational dimension of coaching. So let's just dive into this training. So here we can see, you probably might be familiar with this, this concept before. We've basically Iceberg Model. And you can see the top of the iceberg. This kind of represents, the outer world, things that you can see. So for example, results, outcomes, you can see that. Let's say, for example, if you start a coaching business and you get clients, then the number of clients that you get and how much money you made that month, that's the result, right? And then the next thing you can see, which is the actions, what people are actually doing in order to achieve those results. And then the behavior that's driving those is the thoughts. Basically, how you're thinking will kind of determine how you feel, which will determine how you behave, which will determine how the kind of results that you get. So basically, what this model is showing is that the external world that we see is really the foundation of that. In other words, where that's all flowing from is what's really underneath at the surface. So most people, well, I won't say most people, but a lot of coaches, when they're first starting out in the coaching journey, is they kind of learn how to set goals. And let me give you a typical example, the GROW model, right? So some of you may be familiar with the GROW coaching model. So GROW coaching model is basically goals. There's 4 parts to the GROW coaching model: goals, reality, options, and then what's next. So that's basically the GROW coaching model. So the first part of the GROW coaching model is set goals, right? What's your goal? Where would you like to see yourself? Reality is, where are you right now? What's happening in your life right now? So it's basically goal, this is where you want to be, this is where you are, this is reality, and that's the gap, right? And then the O is for options. What could you do in order to move from there to there? And then what's next is basically, okay, what are you going to do this week? So that's basically it's a very famous coaching model, the GROW coaching model. But as you can see from this, experience, it's all focusing on pretty much the outside world. So it's a very, very basic kind of coaching, the GROW model. And unfortunately, a lot of training about coaching is kind of, that's really all they kind of do. But actually, if that's all you're doing, you're not really going to create a transformation. You might be able to get some results. You might be able to get you might be able to achieve something. But if you want actually something which is transformational and specifically deep transformational, the lower you go in terms of the iceberg, the more the transformation that you're going to get. So I want you to imagine like you could say a fulcrum, all right? And let's say that you're just coaching from here to here, then the only amount of kind of leverage you're going to get is this much, right? So for example, if you make a transformation, it's only going to be within that kind of range. That's the arc that you have. However, the deeper you go, the more the transformation is actually going to be. So for example, if we start here and we're making it's a much bigger transformation. In fact, the deeper you go in coaching, the more profound the transformation is going to be. Let me give you an example. Let's say if someone asked you, okay, what's your goals? What's your dream? Where would you like to see yourself in 6 months in your coaching business? And you say, okay, well, let me look where I am right now. So let me look at my current reality. Okay, right now, maybe you're not getting any clients and you're just starting out your journey as a coach, right? So, where would you like to be? Well, I'd like to be over here. Maybe I'd like to be making $5,000 per month in my coaching business. So that's kind of like you could say it's a goal, and it's a reasonable goal. But there's no real transformation in terms of the being. Whereas if you do deep transformational coaching, especially when you go down to the deeper levels where you're talking about beliefs and convictions, your map of the world and how you view the world and what you think is real and what you think is unreal, what you believe about things, what you believe about yourself, and especially specifically if you go into identities about who you think you are. What kind of person you think you are. I'm rich, I'm poor, I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm young, I'm old. A lot of the core beliefs and convictions. So if you're able to work with a client at the very, very deeper level, at the subconscious level, that can completely change the course and direction of life. So instead of, thinking, okay, maybe I'd like to be a coach and do this, it's like really understanding, what is my purpose? What is my true meaning in life? Which could sometimes be 108 degrees different direction that you might be going in if you're just setting a normal goal. I want to go from here to there. But with a transformation, it's like whole life transforms in every single area: relationships, health, physical, career, etc. So the deeper you go in terms of the coaching, the more powerful and the more transformational the coaching becomes, actually. So here's just a little example. You can see this is now I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with practical coaching. In fact, practical coaching is a very good place to start coaching. Even if you're doing deep transformational coaching, normally what we'll do is we'll normally start with the vision and to find out what the client's goals are. We'll find out what are some of the tangible outcomes they'd like to achieve. We'll even look at strategies about how you can get there and, maybe what kind of skills you would need in order to achieve those kind of goals. And then obviously some measures so you can see if you're on track or not. And then support structures just to keep you, on track and then accountability. So these are all practical coaching, so that there's nothing wrong with that. That's really good. And even when you do deep transformational coaching, you'll still be using the practical coaching. But this is what happens when you're doing the practical coaching. What normally happens is, when the client is on the journey to achieve a goal, they'll hit a brick wall. And it happens pretty much every single time. At least in my experience of coaching clients, whenever I'm coaching a client on a big goal or something that's really, monumental, that's something that they've not achieved before and they want to achieve it, when you're working with them, they will hit a wall. 100% of the time it happens. They'll hit a wall where they can't move forward. They don't know what to do. They get stuck. And a lot of the time they'll procrastinate, they'll delay things, they'll keep putting things off, they'll get distracted and end up giving up on their, that goal. And that always happens, right? So normally what that means is there's a conflicting priorities. And it normally happens at the deeper level. So for example, the values or the beliefs level, let's say, for example, you want to make $1 million and that's maybe your goal. And that's what you say that you want, and that's what you want to be coached on. But then there's a part of you that believes that you don't deserve it. You're not worthy of that. That you could never achieve that. But that could be a subconscious belief that you're not even aware of at the conscious level. And what that ends up doing is canceling out your endeavors and your movement towards that goal, because your subconscious mind is saying, no, you can't have that, you can't have that. So the deep transformational coaching work that we do with clients really helps. It really goes down to the identities level, the beliefs level, the core self, and all those different things. And especially when you get to things like core self, like your real spiritual divine nature, that's the core self. And then your identity, who you think you are. And here's the thing. The more stronger the belief is, the more it becomes unquestioned. In fact, we don't even think it's a belief. We just think that's just me, right? It's just part of me. It's just who I am. We don't even question those kind of beliefs because it's just so much part of us. So the deep transformational coaching work is truly profound. So when you do both of these things together, the coaching just becomes amazing. And let me give you another example. Let's say if a client is trying to achieve a specific goal, And one part of them believes that this is what they really want and they really desire it. But then another part of them, which could be subconscious, believes that it's not possible, they're not worthy of it. Or another part of them believes, well, if I get that, it's not going to be good for me. So what happens is they get stuck and they're not able to move forward. And then what happens is when you do the deep transformational coaching work at the identities and beliefs level, then what happens is there becomes an alignment between what they want and what they believe is possible. What happens is there's awareness, and then there's a shift at the subconscious level, and then there's a communication between the two parts that disagree with each other. There's a union and a meeting, and then what happens is then that opens up the channel to flow freely towards the goal. So what happens normally is all that procrastination, putting things off, just disappears. And one is able to smoothly and effortlessly flow towards, the goals and the dreams that you have. And that's what the deeper transformational coaching does. And then what very often happens as well is that what one thought was important and what one thought was what they wanted, they actually have a realization and an epiphany that actually, you know what? I thought I wanted that, but actually what I really want is this. And very often when you do the deep transformational coaching work, what really happens is the client is able to actually find their true purpose and their true meaning of life and really get a much, much more deeper, fulfilling goals and dreams to work on that just becomes so much more meaning and so much more passion and effort into it. So very often the goals that we create for ourselves are based on the external environment, about what we think we should have, but not what we really, really want at the very, very core level. So when you do the deep transformational coaching work, what happens is the coaching becomes so much more meaningful, so much more powerful. And very often what happens when you do the deep transformational coaching work is that even though you might be working on something which is over here, because you're working at such a deep level, it affects every other area of their life as well. So it's going to affect relationships, it's going to affect, finances, it's going to affect career, it's going to affect your purpose in life, your goals and your dreams and everything. So one of the things is that when you're doing coaching, it's really important to do, focus on both sides of the coaching. And that's what makes coaching more holistic, makes it more complete, because you're not just coaching for material things and the external stuff, the outer world, but you're also coaching at the core self. You're coaching at the identity level. You're also coaching at the beliefs level and the values level, which also filters down all the way to the emotions and which affects the physical results. So it's a truly profound, process of coaching, the deep transformational coaching. I just wanted to share. Obviously, it's a very, very deep topic. Today, I'm just kind of giving you a 5,000-foot overview. But if you are interested to learn more about deep transformational coaching and even the practical coaching and how to combine the two in your coaching to make sure that your coaching is absolutely super powerful and transformational and really fulfilling for you as a coach, because this also affects you as a coach, but also really amazingly, fulfilling for your clients as well. If you'd like to know more about that, underneath this video, you'll see there's a link there, which basically goes to our calendar, and you could actually book a call with me. We can have a quick conversation to see if you'd like to become a coach and work with Academy for Coaches and learn all these things and become an awesome coach. And so if you'd like to do that, feel free to reach out to us, connect with us. We can have a chat, see if it's a good fit. Obviously, if it's not a good fit, we'll do our best to point you in the right direction. And if we can help you, we'll also let you know how that works and everything. So thank you. This is day 9 of the 10-day training course. Tomorrow is going to be day 10. That's going to be our last training in this series. So looking forward to seeing you in the next training. Have a really great day. Take care. Bye.